And the world's most accurate forecast from the National Weather Service. As we look out the window, let's call it liquid sunshine, okay? Otherwise, you become emotionally drained and depressed. Going to be rain mixed with snow tonight and tomorrow, Thanksgiving Day. Low tonight, 37. High tomorrow, not much higher, about 38. Mostly cloudy, 44 on Friday, kicking off the Christmas shopping. Showers at 50 on Saturday. Right now here in Independence, it's miserable, 46, 45 in Lorraine, Elyria, and 46 in Cleveland from the station for Good Times, Great Country Favorites.
99.5 WGAR.
Quite a song, huh? 995 WGAR with Chuck Collier. Rascal Flatts, 3 times in a row, 3 times back-to-back consecutively and all that kind of good stuff for the CMA Vocal Group of the Year. And that is Sarah Beth. Chuck Collier here from WGAR. Now, this is Wednesday, day before Thanksgiving. And you're thinking, well, we're going to kick a free country weekend off here in just about an hour and a half. Well, it's not the weekend. Yeah, remember, it's a stretched out, elongated free country weekend. Kicking it off at 5 o'clock this afternoon. A country Christmas CD is going to be yours if you're caller 9. And a chance to be the grand prize winner. Here's what the grand prize is. Family 4-pack of tickets to Great Lakes Theater Festivals. Remember Scrooge, Marley? Yeah, Christmas Carol. Ohio Theater, downtown Cleveland, 5 o'clock this afternoon on a day before Thanksgiving free country weekend.
Attention listeners in Northern Ohio and Pennsylvania.
This is WGAR, Cleveland, Ohio. It is 4 p.m. with Chuck Collier. The 4 o'clock flashback coming up in about 5 minutes. Our continuing news update is sponsored by Wendy's.
Good afternoon. I'm Darren Toms.
Vuolo, get that man with the camera right now.
Let us observe a moment of silence while you check your Blackberries, and then shut the damn things off.
A lot of DJs spend a few years in one place, they move on to the next market. That's what makes the next inductee into the Country DJ Hall of Fame so rare and spectacular. Chuck Collier was hired at WGAR August 31st, 1970, along with Don Imus. And Chuck's seen a lot of changes come and go. The only departure he made was from 1975 to 1976 at WCBS New York, which afterwards, he came right back to WGAR. He is in his 37th year, and in this industry, that doesn't happen. 37 years at one radio station by doing one thing and doing it better than anybody else. Moving to Cleveland, Ohio, one of the greatest things about it was getting to know Chuck and being able to call him one of my best friends. And it reminds me of the phrase that winners don't know they're in a race, they just love to run. That's our inductee. The new inductee to the Country DJ Hall of Fame, please make welcome to the stage, Mr. Chuck Collier.
David, if your arms get tired, don't drop that. I haven't looked that good in years. I'm telling you. Brian, thank you very much. Brian Jennings, the WGAR program director, just a dear friend. I love him to death, and he wanted this at least as much as I did. Lon Helton called on October 17th. Seems like years ago, and it's like, come on, come on. My mother, Mabel, used to say, Charles, you're wishing your life away. Don't do that. Anybody who had anything to do with this night, which is the highlight of my career and one of the biggest nights of my life, I love you and thank you. If you had absolutely nothing to do with it, I love you and thank you. Thank you so very much. This is like family, whether we're on the music side of things or radio. We're all family. We love each other. There's a lot of love. I know a lot of you. You can't do this without family, and I've got the greatest family in the world. I've got 2 children. Children are 26 and 24. Jason and Melanie, they're up in Cleveland. They couldn't make it tonight. But the woman who raised them and did an exemplary job is here tonight. My lovely wife, who takes vacation time in November to come down to help me produce my CMA show. I think she really wants to say hi to Keith Urban, but she comes down anyway. My lovely wife, Joni, would you stand, Joni? We will be married 35 years in 20 days. Joni? March 23rd, our 35th wedding anniversary. She was a child bride. Darling, thank you. I love you. She's with all the hours, and I tell people I only work half a day. Oh, 4 hours? I said, no, do your math. Half a day. What's half of 24? And she's changed everything, and with the kids, and just make Christmas here and parties there. So, Joni, thank you. There would be no radio career without one of the dearest friends of my whole life. Every time I tell him this, he refuses to hear it. I would have been a banker, and there's nothing wrong with that. My dad was a banker. Bankers have fun, but radio, I think, is more fun. My next buddy, who were Cub Scouts together, played basketball together, he went to the local station, WSRW in Hillsborough. Back when you could do this, open the door. The disc jockey said, "Kid, can you read?" Yeah. He was doing news at 3 o'clock. Told me about it. I said, well, maybe I could do this too. I would have never in a million years ever thought about getting into radio without my dear friend, Mr. Gary West. Gary, would you stand? This is Gary West. Without Gary, and I say it again, without Gary West, there would be no radio career for yours truly. Gary, I owe you everything, buddy. Thank you very much. After Gary said, I'm on radio, well, I thought maybe I could try it too, so I made a microphone out of a broomstick and walked around the house talking into the broomstick. My mother, Mabel, it was like, what's wrong with Charles? My dad and mother, Elroy and Mabel, they've been gone for years. They always supported me. They never once said, you know, why don't you go get a real job? Wonderful, wonderful ladies, or parents. My mom, of course, wanted to seek relief from the broomstick. She called another family friend who worked in the bank with my dad and said, can you at least show Charles a radio station? Now, this guy had the best of both worlds because he was a banker and had a community bulletin board show at the radio station, WSRW Hillsborough. He could have said, yeah, maybe I'll do that in 10 or 12 years, I'll do that. This next gentleman traveled with his lovely wife, Dorothy, 700 miles from Florida. He took me through my first radio station. Unbeknownst to me, I didn't know what an audition was. Set up my first audition, watched in the other room while I did it, watched while I did my first newscast, 9:30 a.m., Wednesday, March 12th of 1963. Mr. Bob Hodson, Robert O., please stand up. Stand up, I owe so much. Without these people, it simply wouldn't have happened. Bob, I love you. A couple of other people I'm so glad to have around, they couldn't make it tonight. The two other people watched that morning. Will Parr, who was doing, after 53 years, still doing mornings in Hillsborough. And Tom Archibald, the owner. Tom could have said, get that chubby kid out of here. I don't want him around, but he did not. I owe the world to them. A few names quickly. I was hired because of talent, or maybe they took pity on me, I'm not sure. The late Fran Stratman, my second job in Wilmington. WON Dayton, my first big break. Sam Yakavazi and Shadow Jackson. I was lucky enough to work there with Terry Wood. Maybe some of you know Terry. And Lee Shannon, who was a member of this country Hall of Fame. That was back in '69. Bob Harper, WSAI in Cincinnati. John Lund, Lund Consultants, and Jack Thayer hired me at WGAR in '70. Bill Brown, CBS-FM in New York. Back to GAR, Chick Watkins, Denny Nugent, some of you know Denny. Clay Honeycutt, Clay. Clay was the one who put this Hall of Fame idea into my brain 2000, about 9 years ago. Clay, thank you so much. Kevin Matheny of Clear Channel. Mary Margaret, Meg Stevens. Meg, are you here tonight? Maggie, I love you to death. Just a wonderful lady. And the current Clear Channel gang, Mike Kenny, our market manager. Mike's good people. Gotta be. He's from my stomping grounds down near Cincinnati. Mike and I both went to the University of Cincinnati, both worked at WSAI. And Mike Kenny, Mike Kenny has got a great situation going in Cleveland with Keith Abrams, our operations manager. He's got a birthday tomorrow. Couldn't be here, but Keith, happy birthday. And of course, Brian Jennings would not be in this Hall of Fame were it not for Brian. Not right now anyway, because he did everything he could. He lobbied. He just did everything he could. And again, he wanted this as much as I did. Brian Jennings, it's been a long time since I've seen anybody with a passion that popped my pee, the passion for country music that he has. He's just an incredible dear friend and so invigorating to be around. A couple of more things. My hometown is 800 people. It's like Mayberry's, New Vienna, Ohio. I'd like to recognize my New Vienna gang, Bob and Dorothy Hodson, Gary and Connie Page. Gary put a good word into a future employer for me. My cousin Tony and his wife Cheryl. Tony used to hang around the control room. There was one night he smelled death in the air, scared us all to death. Marvin and Tambra Walls. Marvin and I played high school basketball together. John and Kathy Levo. John showed me how to do record hops. Gary, his lovely wife Dee Dee, you met Gary a minute ago. My sister Carolyn and Larry Taubenheim. The Nuviana gang, would you guys just stand up? Let them see what Nuviana, Ohio. Come on, up, 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 come on. This is Nuviana, Ohio. They traveled to see this night. We appreciate it. A couple of quick stories, then I'm out of here. GAR used to be owned by Nationwide Communications. Steve Berger worked his way up through Nationwide in Columbus and became president. He came in the studio one time and he said, and I naturally congratulated him. And he said, Chuck, I appreciate that, but you know, every promotion I get further and further away from the real reason I got into radio. And he pointed to the microphone. And I said, yeah, that's one of the many reasons I'm still in the control room. I'm very blessed. Bill Anderson, we all know Whisperin' Bill. Every time I see Bill, which is 3 or 4 times, I go, Bill, when I started into radio, I'm so old that Still was a top 10 record. He goes, oh, surely not. And I said, oh, yes. But I read this about Bill, discovering one of the secrets of life, and it's easier said than done. If you can find something you're so passionate about, that's the tough part, that you would do it every day for free if you could financially for the rest of your life. Find that out, work hard, and then have somebody pay you a good buck for it. You've never worked a day in your life. And I tell my children that, I tell a lot of people that. I have never worked a day in my life. Been long play hours, a lot of stress, but I've never worked a day in my life. It's like recess, and I thank God for that. My only fear is that one of these days the teacher's going to open the door and say, Charles, time to come. Class, recess is over. Time to get back to school. So again, I want to congratulate my fellow inductees, Jerry House, Moon Mullins, and Bob. They're wonderful folks. Real quick thanks to Mike McKay, who took us from the airport down here, and also to Loretta taking the pictures. This is, again, I'm humbled. I'm so appreciative. I really don't have words. And David, I'm sorry to keep you hanging for so long. Thank you all. We'll see you on the bridge, and let the party continue.